Hello everyone, welcome back to the channel. So today is going to be a pick a card reading on the topic of self-loyalty. So I don't exactly have a title yet as I'm recording this intro, but I'm sure I'll figure it out. But yes, today is going to focus on the concept of being loyal to yourself and ways to break any betrayal to yourself. So this idea stemmed from the fact that I started off 2024 in heartbreak, which 10 out of 10 don't recommend starting off a year that way if it can't be helped. The raw pain that I felt from that heartbreak was otherworldly, but it made me realize a hard truth. People can't be loyal to others if they can't be loyal to themselves, let alone commit to another if they can't commit to themselves. Betrayal rarely comes from our enemies. I saw something like that on Twitter like a week ago, 2 weeks ago, and I'm like, that is so right. We don't expect that behavior from our enemies. We already kind of expect that they're not on our side. Betrayal usually comes from that feeling of it's the people you least expect to make you feel that way. So yeah, people don't betray us as much as people betray themselves, to be honest. And as someone that has a strong sense of self, my biggest heartbreaks have stemmed from the fact that I expected others to also have a strong sense of self, and they didn't. So at times I've felt resentful of those people in my life because I've been headstrong ever since I can remember. I'm also a Leo rising, and if there's one thing that Leos are, we have a very strong sense of self and we project an air of self-importance. So for me, it does rub me the wrong way if someone hasn't cultivated a sense of self. But eventually I realized that for most people, their sense of self can take years to cultivate, if not their entire lives. And there's not an issue in that. Everyone's path in self-growth is different. And at the end of the day, we can't force someone to be something that they're not or something that they're not ready to be. Someone not showing up in your life the way that you want or deserve is not a reflection on us. Hence today, I wanted today's video to have messages for everyone regardless of what stage you're at in your journey to be loyal to yourself. So to add further context to this video, why should we even care about building a sense of self and cultivating loyalty to ourselves, right? Truthfully, there's no better time than now to be loyal to yourself and commit to protecting your wants and dreams. I'm not sure if some people have heard this concept that are tuning in, but the concept of spiritual warfare is going on more than ever, and I believe that the biggest enemy would want us to destroy our ego and destroy our sense of selves, because at the end of the day, money can be taken from us, material things can be taken from us, but if you lose a sense of yourself, then I truly believe that you're done for. It's your soul, and your soul's essence is the one thing about you that is completely yours. It's unique to you. No one else can take it away from you unless you willingly release that from yourself. And especially the world that we live in, it's not the best in 2025. As I'm sure you all know, the world is increasing in cost, the job market is scarce, people are increasingly feeling isolated and alone, despite our access to technology, instant communication. The world is at our fingertips, and yet more and more people are feeling helpless than ever. And it's understandable that most people are forced to sacrifice their wants, their dreams, and their passions to prioritize their survival in this harsh world. We might give up our dreams just to focus on getting a paycheck that covers our rent and our food, but at the cost of feeling emotionally unfulfilled or nourished. But I challenge all of you watching during this societally uncertain time. Loyalty to self is a powerful commitment that requires you to fiercely protect your energy, your dreams, and your values. It is not a passive action. It requires you to honor who you truly are. And there's multiple reasons why cultivating self-loyalty is so important right now, and there can be physical, emotional, and spiritual consequences of living a life of self-betrayal. So, firstly, creating a profound disconnect between your soul and your external reality can lead to cycles of disempowerment. So, being stuck in daily cycles of repetition that don't nourish us can lead to blocked energy in your physical and emotional body that can make you feel numb, especially towards your desires. The more choices we make that go against our inner knowing, our personal and spiritual needs may be stunted when we ignore what we truly want to need. So over time, those small compromises that we make against our values add up, and we can find ourselves in a life that feels misaligned to us. So this might show up as you might say to yourself that you may want to stay at a job for a year until you figure out what you want to do next, only to find yourself staying another year because, oh, I got a raise this year. I should stay because I got more money. Then the next thing you know, you're in 5 years deep at a company and a career that doesn't fulfill you, and you feel like you watch your life pass by. Or you say yes indiscriminately to plans that your family and friends have because you don't want to miss out, and now you find yourself emotionally burnt out and resentful of spending time with others because that led to you not having time for yourself. So, if you feel like you may have betrayed yourself or made decisions that were not aligned with your values, all is not lost. Self-betrayal is a detour, not a final destination. You have the free will to change your course at any time. And I intended for this reading to bring clarity and shed light on behaviors and patterns that may lead us to self-betrayal, as well as ways to break free from self-deception so we can live a life of alignment. Staying true to yourself, despite external pressures, is a path of self-mastery. So while we might not get to the destination overnight, I hope that this reading can help you develop healthier habits so you can live a more sustainable life of alignment rather than convenience. Also, keep in mind, this is a general reading and there are 3 piles today, so this won't be all-encompassing in terms of all the ways a person can betray themselves. Just take what resonates and leave the rest behind. And at the very least, if this video can jumpstart having this conversation with yourself and help you examine the ways that you may have betrayed your needs, then that's more than enough for me. I will say, if you're easily triggered, this might not be the video for you because this can be quite heavy and it can be triggering for someone to hear that essentially like they haven't been honest with themselves. So I would recommend maybe coming back to this video if you're in the mood for this particular topic, or you can wait for the next one. I promise the next video is going to be way much lighter and more fun than this one. But if you're in the mood for some shadow work or to delve deeper, or just need extra confirmation that you're on the right path in making better choices for yourself, then this is the reading for you today. And also, I have done this reading on myself to be fair, because I don't like doing readings if I haven't been able to do them for myself, and maybe I need to cultivate ways on doing readings that don't necessarily affect me in that way. But I'd feel a little bit of a hypocrite if I was telling everybody, hey, you're being disloyal to yourself, and I didn't check myself. So when I did do this reading, I also got scalped. And I did shed some tears, if that makes anyone feel better. So if there's any emotions that arise from this reading, just sit with it, feel it out, journal about it. I would say that you can definitely write down any points that you've heard during the reading that resonate with you and reflect on them more in a separate journal page, or when you have some time to yourself and to just reflect on those things, then yeah, I definitely recommend that. But in any case, here are the piles for today. All of the crystals that were chosen for the piles were crystals that have sat on my desk and have helped me reflect on whether I was being loyal to myself or not. So I had no idea that they'd ever be used for in a reading, especially for a topic like this, but it's very fitting. So let me introduce them. So for pile 1, this is Hypersthene. Pile 2 is this Obsidian Palmstone. And pile 3 is Red Tiger's Eye. All right, so just take a minute or two to close your eyes, see which pile calls to you the most, and you could also choose multiple piles as well if you feel so inclined to do so. But yeah, once you've picked your pile, you can go to the timestamps. I'll link them in the bio below. And yeah, I will see y'all in your reading. Hello, pile 1. So if you chose the Hypersthene crystal, then this is your reading. Just a little intro on your crystal that you chose. I would have to say that this crystal is one of my personal favorites in my entire collection. I think it's really unique looking, and I love the iridescence. I don't know if that's the right word, but it has like that cat eye effect where it like when the light is on it, it reflects differently. So this crystal in particular promotes self-love, independence, and endurance, and it does force you to prioritize what's most valuable in your life. And I would speak to the endurance aspect of this crystal, especially when I had this on my work desk. I expected myself to reach for this crystal more, especially when I was in long calls or situations where I really wanted to disassociate. But even just seeing it on my desk and seeing how unique and pretty it was made me feel comforted even without holding it in my hand. So that's just a little backstory on this crystal. We'll set that aside, and first I'm gonna lay out the cards for your pile, and then I'll dive into each card specifically. So today it's just the old reliable Rider-Waite Tarot. I wanted this to just be simply focused on the message without using too many cards, so that is what we have here today. This way, okay. Make sure they're all in frame. Okay, cool. So pile 1, when I was trying to channel your energy before picking the cards, I did get the sense of a really stubborn group, and I can definitely see why in these cards. So for the first card, this is going to represent what parts of yourself are you currently betraying. And don't get offended, but the energy I got was very mopey and like Eeyore. Pile 1, I feel like you I feel like you've been in a period where you've just been avoidant of any emotional experiences, probably longer than necessary. I feel like you've used past emotional, not wrongdoings, but memories where your emotions may have gone haywire, or maybe they involved something that you wanted where your emotions got very invested and they didn't play out to how you expected, and those memories have just been replaying in your head as a way to essentially punish yourself, like self-flagellate yourself emotionally and convince you that, oh, this is why I should never follow my emotions again, or look at where my emotions took me. Look what happened when I listened to my heart and it led me down a very foolish path. I feel like you've sat in a period of contemplation for so long that it's spilled milk at this point. Like, the Five of Cups usually refers to that aspect of you're crying over spilt milk. And I feel like this energy you've been sitting in has been there for a while. So I almost feel subconsciously you know that you need to get out, break free of this energy, but you haven't. And it also reflects in your second card as well, which represents in what ways you seek external validation, because a big part of self-betrayal is also in relation to how we're seen from other people. Not to say that we always do things in relation to others, but subconsciously there are aspects of ourselves that do amend certain parts of our behavior or personalities to be seen in a certain way or to have the approval of others. I mean, we all are social creatures, so it makes sense that we can be, what's the word? We want to be societally more acceptable. But to have this card, the Four of Cups, in the position of what ways do you seek external validation, I feel like because of your emotional setbacks here, it has made you really avoidant in approaching others first, or approaching new emotional experiences first. I'm not exactly sure what happened to have made you feel like you can't trust your emotions, or that you don't want to seek out new emotional experiences. Maybe it's wanting to avoid a sense of grief or the turmoil that can happen when you do open yourself to experience it, new emotional experiences. Because on one hand, right, you have the opportunity to have more joy in your life, to have new memories and emotions, but at the same time, the more you expand your heart, the more you essentially expand your capacity for heartbreak as well. So it almost makes me feel like you wait for others to approach you first rather than you going out of your way to approach people. It almost feels like, well, I went out of my way for people that I cared about in the past, and that didn't do much for me. So from now on, I'm gonna see and wait how much someone really wants to talk to me. It can even go as far as you might ignore when people try to reach out to you in your life, because you want to see how far they can go. Like how many times they'll reach out before they essentially give up, which I am sensing a sense of self-sabotage as I am with self-betrayal. I think the stubbornness and the independence of this pile can sometimes reflect negatively as much as it can be for positive traits. Because the Four of Cups also speaks to being self-absorbed at times, and I'm a Leo rising. I have no problem if someone wants to be self-absorbed, but instead of using your solitude and alone time to reconfigure what it is that you want or reflect on your values, I feel like there's a more somber energy in your alone time. Like the self-absorbedness is reflecting in such a way that it's clouding your judgment, especially towards emotions, instead of opening yourself up again to new experiences or new opportunities to replace those more heartbreaking moments in your life. It feels like there's this mental energy too of, oh, well, I don't see how this could be going well for me. I don't really see the point in doing all these things because this happened to me. This didn't feel good. Someone betrayed me. I was very foolish. And it's almost like you kind of want to tell someone to not get over it, but to see past your emotions and you being stuck in this thought pattern that isn't benefiting you. And eventually, that almost external validation you're seeking in people approaching you first, or you wanting people to show how much they care about you before you show that you care about them, then yeah, eventually that opportunity, that person that's offering you a new connection will essentially go away because you're kind of stuck there in contemplation with a little sorrowful face, and they're not going to budge anymore. And then you'll use that as a way to be like, see, I knew it. They went away again. They didn't try. Well, if this keeps going on, then yeah, you also wouldn't try either. So yeah, even as I'm channeling this, like my mind feels it can't go past what I'm seeing externally. It just feels very mentally stuck. But it's okay. It's okay, pile one. This is just an energy read. This is not going to be you forever. You have the free will to change this. Which, hey, we're on to the next question, which is, how can you strengthen your self-trust and confidence in your decisions? And you got the King of Pentacles in reversed. So the King of Pentacles symbolizes mastery over the material realm. He usually accomplishes a lot and is very materially successful. But since this is in the reverse position, it is indicating that there has been a lack of commitment, possibly. It could indicate hesitation to lock yourself into one path that could lead to steady growth and mastery over your realm. So instead of also just having emotional setbacks be one focus of your reading, I'm also possibly seeing that another reason why you might be down is because you feel like you haven't created the stability you want for yourself, which is very valid. I can relate to that energy as well. But it's possible that you may have been getting lost in possibilities and in dreams rather than committing to a structured, disciplined approach that will actually bring you long-term success and security. And I do sense there is a natural discipline within this pile. I just think it's a matter of cultivating it again towards something that you genuinely value so that you can get the most out of your skills. So I'm not sure too if maybe you've stuck to a career path that hasn't been the most fruitful, or maybe you just haven't found a career path or source of income that has given you a sense of financial success or material success. But I think that in order to strengthen your self-trust, I do think you do need to commit to a path, a singular path, and not fear that you might be missing out on something better. And the way that you can strengthen your self-trust, and instead of doubting yourself, I would say you have to focus on your true strengths rather than something that you think is going to earn you money or think is a good opportunity. Since the King of Pentacles is the master of his own realm, I feel like there's an opportunity to be a master of your realm in whatever capacity that may be. I also think of the Midas touch with King of Pentacles, that everything he touches turns to gold. So I feel like whatever your strength is or your niche is, you do have the opportunity to turn nothing into something. And all it takes would have to be committing to one path, or committing to that one thing that you feel has potential, you feel that you can turn into gold. And to tie that in, the last card is going to represent what does self-loyalty look like for you in this stage of your life. And it's the Two of Wands in reverse. And when I think of the Wands suit in tarot, I always think of very creative energy. Wands do represent fire energy. So Aries, Leo, Sagittarius. And I think these two cards do speak to the fact that you do see a lot of opportunities. You do have a lot of great ideas that you can actually cultivate and can turn into something great. Like, there is a visionary aspect too that I'm seeing. There's so much potential that you see in the world, in your world. And rather than focusing on your setbacks, focusing on the heartbreak, focusing on all the times that going after something that you wanted hasn't felt good. On the other side, there's a whole world of unlimited potential waiting for you to tap in, which could then lead to mastery and long-term success. It's just a matter of focusing on your strengths, choosing something that you can fully commit to and have a solid plan so that you can anchor these visions into the material realm. And it's almost crazy how there's a complete 180 spectrum in your reading, which is actually great. Because on one hand, if you continue to stay in this energy, then yeah, life is gonna feel very numb and very clouded for you. But on the other hand, you have this whole world of potential on the other side. There's so much that's waiting for you to explore. Like a whole doorway that all you need to do is step through and the path will show itself for you. I also think too that maybe because you have ideas that may not be the most conventional, it might be hard to anchor that visionary aspect into the material realm. And to that, I would say, you don't have to do it all in one day. If you do have an idea that's out there, then it's a matter of consistency and commitment, right? So you can do little by little each day to help bring that out there idea into the material. For example, this reading has taken like the past 2 or 3 weeks for me to do because I really wanted to focus on why this reading was so important and all the ways that I wanted to express why loyalty to self was so important. So instead of just beating myself up of, oh, this is such an ambitious topic, how am I going to do this? I was researching things day by day or writing things out day by day, and it came to a point where I just stopped beating myself up of, this video needs to be done today, I should have done this today. Instead, I was able to be content with the fact that I already knew I was working on this video, and whether it was day by day, week by week, it eventually led up to something, which led up to me recording this video for y'all. So don't be intimidated by the fact that you may have grand ideas. Don't let it be oh, I should have done it, I should have dropped this a long time ago. Don't let it be a should. You still have time. You can create those tangible real world results if you just lock in. That would be my general advice, group 1. Let's lock in. I'll lock in with you, honestly. Instead of being an Eeyore, you can be a Winnie the Pooh and enjoy your pot of honey. I don't know if that was a really good comparison, but you know what I mean. Like, I almost got like bogged down by the first half of your energy, not gonna lie. And again, this reading was not to insult anyone, but it's a matter of clarity, of just trying to be honest, because I think this group has a lot of potential and I would really like to see what this group can accomplish and what ideas are out there that you guys can bring to the material through your focus and commitment and consistency. But I won't leave you guys hanging for the last part of your guys' reading. I pulled an advice card. This is just going to be like a general advice card to close off, and it does have an affirmation which I will read. So the card that I received is Unity. The trigger statement is I am unstable. The true statement is I am aware. You are strengthening the connection between your energetic and physical bodies to help you manifest your goals. Which, yes, I feel like this really does resonate because, yeah, this card is definitely giving the energy of I'm unstable, I'm not where I want to be in my life, emotionally, physically, materially. But the first step to getting out of those feelings is, yeah, being aware. You are strengthening the connection between the more energetic, more emotional part of you with the material so you can manifest your goals. The more you hone in on what it is you want to do, the strengths that you want to focus on, then that's already a really good step. Because again, you don't have to do everything overnight. You don't have to show that you've done everything overnight. It really just starts with you being honest on what it is that you value and what you want to do, even if it is unconventional. I mean, this is 2025. I don't know if anyone from the future is going to be reading this, but there are multiple ways to make money now. There are multiple careers that literally did not exist in whatever the last 20 years or something. So even if it is unconventional or out there, if it's something you want to do, then just do it. Don't let bygones be bygones. You have the potential to create and ground something so extraordinary that it could melt away all the emotional turmoil that was in the first half of your reading. So, group 1, don't give up. Be loyal to the part of yourself that's unconventional and out there and actually has great ideas. Instead of waiting for life to offer you something, just know that you have a lot to offer life too. And we're all waiting for you. We're all waiting for that something amazing that you will offer this world. So I hope this resonated, and I hope I didn't trigger anyone too bad out there. But I will see you in the next one. Bye-bye. Hi, group 2. If you chose the Obsidian Palm Stone, then this is your reading. Just a little background on the crystal that you chose. This is a very special crystal to me. I bought me and my best friend a matching palm stone when I was vacationing in Cancun last summer. Me and my best friend went to Cancun for the first time in November 2023, but when I bought this crystal last summer, I was vacationing with my family, and we were on the way to see the ruins of Chichen Itza when our tour bus stopped at this village that was right before Chichen Itza, and it sold a bunch of these gorgeous obsidian palm stones and other crystals and trinkets. So when I saw this, I was like, I need to get it. Me and my best friend, we need to stay strapped up. And it's been a really great grounding crystal. I also like having this on my person because it is a psychically protective crystal as well. Like, it does shield your energetic energy. And I used to find obsidian really intimidating too. It does have a mirror effect in general. I also have obsidian here, this big chunk that my friend got me for Christmas. So yeah, safe to say I'm really enjoying obsidian now, because it can be a really intimidating crystal. It generally is used to bring clarity to the mind because it does have that reflective quality. I know that people use Obsidian to scry as well, which scrying is like you essentially look into an obsidian or like a black like reflective space and you kind of just like see images. So with Obsidian too, I always feel like it can be an intimidating crystal to work with, especially if you're trying to do more work on yourself. It can be intimidating to essentially like look yourself in the mirror and dissect what you're seeing and not just taking yourself face value. So that's just a little intro for that. I'm just gonna lay out the cards first and then we'll delve into it one by one, and then we'll end with some advice cards. So 1 minute while I get this set up. I love that my foot fell asleep while I'm doing this, so. Okay, let me just check if it's on the screen. Okay, cool. All right, so group 2. When I was trying to channel into the energy, I felt a very charming energy, but the cards are telling a somewhat different story. But again, we'll dive into it. So the first card is going to represent what parts of yourself are you currently betraying, and you got the Knight of Cups in reverse. So I would say this is why I was sensing that charming energy. Like upright, the Knight of Cups is a very romantic card. It's a very idealistic card as well. But when it's reversed, it can talk to the fact of there might be some disillusionment and or emotional manipulation at play. Not to say that this group is a bunch of charming emotional manipulators, but I will say too that if I had to summarize what I was feeling when I was channeling the energy initially, I would say emotional inconsistency. And again, I'm not laughing at you guys or making fun of you guys, but I did sense there is some emotional coping patterns, mechanisms that might not be the best with this group. I feel like there is a tendency to be to go from one emotional extreme to the other. And the reason why that can be a sense of self-betrayal for you guys is because if you go from one emotional extreme to another, you naturally are going to feel a little bit insane. It's not the best feeling to feel that extreme of an emotion. Like that regulation just isn't there, essentially. And of course, it's not to say that it can't be worked on, but I do sense that there might be a tendency to either drown in escapism to avoid confronting deeper emotional responsibilities, or maybe you're suppressing your emotions to maintain the illusion of peace in your life. So I think that could point to the fact that you might be deceiving yourself in some areas of your life, which in turn could lead to deceiving others. But I think it's mostly towards yourself. I'm not sure if maybe you've told yourself everything's a-okay when it's not. Even just not letting yourself have it in that way is a sense of self-betrayal. There is an idealistic quality to this group. That's not bad. It's just that being overly idealistic might be setting yourself up for disappointment. And that's not necessarily fair to you. It is a good quality to have ideals, but to be overly idealistic might lead you to ignore practical concerns and or be dishonest with yourself and your motivations. Let's move on to the next cards. In what ways do you seek external validation, since a tendency of self-betrayal is also based on the fact that there are external factors at play. While we may not be actively performing for other people, of course, we're still bound by societal conditioning that is almost subconscious at times, which is why I wanted to explore that in this reading as well. And I'm sensing that external validation is a sense of identity that is tied to persevering, persisting, and working hard. The Nine of Wands is the perseverance card. It's the weariness card. But then the Four of Pentacles also came out with this card as well. And do you see how he's holding on tightly to his possessions, so to speak? I feel like there is a tendency to hold steadfast to the parts of your personality that is a hard worker. And I don't blame y'all for that, because, for example, I'm a Taurus sun with a Virgo moon. So I made stability and working my personality for many years. I always wanted to be the person that outwardly looked like they had their life together. I'm like, yeah, I'm working hard. I'm catching the bag. I'm getting a paycheck. But it was to the point where it's not grinding with a purpose. It's grinding for the sake of grinding, which led to burnout. But since my identity was tied so much to that concept of I work hard, I'm stable, I was unwilling to let that part of myself go, because essentially I didn't know who I was without that. And I feel like maybe group 2, this is where that emotional manipulation comes in towards yourself. I feel like you have worked hard and worked consistently over time, but you're kind of losing the plot a little bit. And or maybe you are in the middle of a goal that you're trying to obtain that you do value, but you've just lost the plot. And you've just been stuck in the cycle of grinding and being persistent, but it's clouded you to the point where you don't know who you are or who you will be. All you know is that you have to hold on, and you just don't know why. But I will say, group 2, I think you know yourself more than you give yourself credit for. This isn't giving me the energy of a group that doesn't know what they want. You do know what you want. I think it's your emotions that make you feel like you don't know what you want. And I think that sense of emotional extremes, right? Of feeling one day the next, feeling one thing the next day, and then feeling something completely different. I think that emotional turmoil might lead you to think that you don't know where you're going or you don't know why you're doing something, which is valid in the moment, right? When you're doing something that makes you give so much of your time and energy towards it, it's gonna make you feel some type of way. But that sense of struggling to find that emotional regulation can lead you to feel like you've lost the plot. And to be fair, group 2, you have not lost the plot. You might have gone on a, let's just call it a side quest. Maybe you've just gone on a side quest on your journey of being loyal to yourself, and that's okay. Because in this card is meant to symbolize how can you strengthen your self-trust and your confidence in your decisions. And you got the Magician card, which is really great. This to me shows that you actually do have everything in your present life to help you move forward and to be the person you want to be. Since this card does depict all of the tarot suits, so there's the cup, the pentacle, the sword, and the magician's holding the wand right here. So you do already have what it takes to move forward with your life and to make great decisions for yourself. You innately have a sense of determination in you, and it's just a matter of redirecting that determination to remind yourself of why you're doing the things that you are doing. This doesn't, like, your group doesn't strike me as something that does something to do it. This group definitely knows their purpose, and if you don't know it all the way, I would say that you know enough. The Obsidian crystal is a crystal of self-reflection, right? So I would say out of all the piles, this group has done enough work and reflection to either be on the way to finding their purpose, or they know their purpose enough. So there's a natural determination in this group. There's a natural sense of hard work and perseverance. It's just a matter of channeling that energy in you and affirming that you do know the steps, you do know the way, you are not lost. And to challenge your emotions whenever you feel those extremes, or you're kind of gaslighting yourself or lying to yourself that you're lost or this isn't the way. Because I think it's your emotions that make you feel like you don't know what you're doing, rather than your emotions are telling you you're not on the right path. Because if you truly weren't on the right path, then I think you might have gotten a stronger court card, since this is just like the Knight of Cups. If you got like the King of Cups, then that would be a sign that, yeah, maybe you're lying to yourself about something very big. But since it's just like a knight, it's not a fleeting energy, but it's a less serious version. So that in itself, this is not an indicator that you're lying to yourself about something big. It's a matter of your emotions are trying to lead you to one place when really you're not down the hole that bad. The Magician is asking you to affirm your role as the main character of your life and to affirm that you got this. Like, I think out of all the cards to have in terms of how do you strengthen your self-trust, this is probably like one of the best cards, if not the best card to get. Because the Magician's also like a card that can transmute energy. So whatever energy you're feeling, all that uncertainty or doubt on your path, you can easily transform that into something else. You can transmute those feelings into feelings of, oh, I do got this. I do know where I'm going. Even if some days I don't feel the best, I know that I am working towards a goal that means a lot to me. I am going to, like, my end destination essentially is where I know I'm meant to be, rather than letting those feelings of confusion and doubt deceive you. Because that's also not being fair to yourself and to just thinking that you don't know what you're doing and that you're not capable of making decisions that impact your life positively. So for the last card, what does self-loyalty look like for you at this stage of your life? You got the Justice card in reverse. So yeah, I think it's a matter of, not I think, but it's a matter of being fair to yourself. Like I said, there is a level of self-reflection in this group already. There just needs to be a balance of how self-critical you can be and balancing that with how much you're willing to nurture yourself and give yourself grace at the same time. Because you're much more than an emotionally unstable person. You're much more than someone that grinds without purpose. You're much more than a hard worker. You're someone that can transmute difficult emotions. You're someone that can affirm what's best for them. You're someone that has a purpose and you work intently to fulfill your purpose. For every thought you have to yourself of, oh, I'm stupid, I shouldn't have done that, you can balance that with, wow, I'm proud of myself today because I did XYZ, which made me feel better about myself and makes me one step closer to fulfilling my goal. So yeah, group 2, I would say just don't be too hard on yourself. You have a lot of different sides to you and a lot of different angles to you, and all of them are you. Even the contradictory sides, even the emotional sides, even the sides of you that come for yourself, there is a capacity to also be just as loving and nurturing and giving yourself grace as much as you're willing to comfort yourself. Because there's a lot of wonderful qualities about you, group 2, and I hope that you embrace who you truly are for all the quote-unquote negatives as well as the positives. You don't have to be tied so hard into one way of being, because that's not realistic, nor is that sustainable. And yeah, so to close off the reading, I am going to pull some general advice cards. They have affirmations on them, so I'll read them. The first card is Elevate. The trigger statement is I feel so low, and the true statement is I persevere. Release the worry and fear and allow confidence, trust, and strength to take you to your goal. Yes, so instead of persevering blindly, you can release any fears that you may have and be confident and trust yourself that you have what it takes to get to the finish line towards your goal. Yeah, you can afford to feel more joyful in your path, and not everything has to feel like a toil or feel like hard work. If you're working towards something that you truly enjoy and you truly value, then yeah, you can be a little bit more joyful in your day. You can smile. It's okay. You don't have to be so serious all the time, because I feel like this facial expression, this is what it must feel like on your day-to-day, and it's like, it's okay. I know it feels like you might be in the trenches sometimes, but you can just smile. This is me trying to, like, force your lips into smiling. Your second affirmation card, yes, I specifically pulled two because I'm like, let's give you more positive things to feel. Group two. So you got cleansing. The trigger statement is I will never change. The true statement is in each moment I am a new me. You are supported as you release habits and limiting patterns that are not serving your highest good. So yes, I feel like group two, you might feel like it's hard for you to be like, well, it's hard to be XYZ. I don't have the time. I don't have the energy. And it's like, ooh, if you're the magician, you can be anyone you want. At any moment, you can choose to be a new version of yourself. You can create new habits for yourself at any time and let go of any limiting beliefs that aren't serving you. So yeah, you're persevering into being a new version of yourself alongside of you trying to fulfill and complete your goals, and I think that's amazing. There are so many aspects of yourself that are waiting to come to light, and whether it's the negative or the positive, I hope you know that you are valid in your totality. You are loved for each part of you, and I hope you do the same for yourself. So yeah, thanks for tuning in group two. You guys are doing the Lord's work, or if you don't believe in God, then you are doing the universe's work by stepping into the highest version of yourself each and every day. Even if you don't feel that way, you are on the path to self-actualization, and that is better than nothing. You are not starting from nothing. You are working on yourself each and every day, and that is a valid effort. And I hope you know that. So yeah, thanks for tuning in, and I will see you in the next one. Bye-bye. Hi, group three. If you chose the red tiger's eye crystal, then this is your reading. Whew, last pile I'm recording for today, and I'm excited. Usually by the time I get to the last pile, I'm tired. I mean, yeah, my throat is a little dry because I've been talking and I've been drinking my matcha. But yeah, I feel good. I feel excited. And for further context on your crystal as well, it is a crystal that provides laser sharp focus, drive, and determination to get things done, which makes sense why it would be like the last pile, because it's it's giving me that drive to finish up strong. And since it is a red tiger's eye, it does speak to the grounding properties that can be related with the root chakra. Like the root chakra is the base chakra, and it does correspond with the color red. So hence why there's also a plethora of red crystals here today, for the purpose of grounding, as well as trying to call into that energy of like, come back to yourself and who you truly are. And I like carrying this crystal around with me when I leave the house, even if I go on a walk or if I'm driving around doing errands. I'll always have this crystal and a garnet with me. This garnet, actually, I feel safer with it. I don't know. When I do hold it in my hand, it's actually quite heavy. Not as heavy as like a palm stone, but it does feel surprisingly stronger than I thought it was originally. And I do like holding this crystal when I need that extra boost of endurance. It's small, but it's potent. Like, I would hold this in my hand whenever I was trying to finish up a call at work, and I'm like, come on, like, bring me home. Let's do this. Let's finish strong. So yeah, some interesting energy for the last pile. I'll set that over here, and I'm just gonna lay down each of the cards. I'll explain it in full as we go along. But yeah, today I'm just working with my original tarot deck, the Rider-Waite. Just wanted to focus on the messages rather than have a crazy cool spread of images. That will be for the next reading if you stay tuned. So well, look out for that. But okay, pile 3. I don't want to have to start off your guys' reading like this, but I would have to say that if there was a people-pleasing group, this is definitely it. All of the groups have a different type of people-pleasing tendencies, but I would say this is explicitly the most people-pleasing one out of the entire group. And I see why this crystal relates to this group, because naturally I would imagine you would need all that energy and motivation if you're always in situations that require you to deal with everyone but yourself. Because this seems like the type of group to help everyone first. You probably say a lot more yeses than you say nos. But I also feel like you do that from a place of love. This isn't a group that blindly does things just for the sense of validation. I think there naturally is an innocence of wanting to help out others because you have that natural care in your heart. But in terms of capacity, we'll dive into that. So to start, the first card is symbolizing what parts of yourself are you currently betraying, and it is the 6 of Pentacles. And to me, I think the part of yourself that you're betraying is the fact that you're giving to everybody but yourself. Like, it's not lost on me how 6 is an even number, but the way that 6 is distributed on this card is uneven, right? You have 3 on this side, you have 2, and then you have 1. Like, it's not like there was 3 pentacles on one side and 3 pentacles on the other. And pentacles speak to the earth element in tarot. So that's material resources, that's tangible items. So I'm not sure if maybe you're giving money to people in your life, to family, to friends, or you're giving your time, your resources to other people, but it feels like a tangible material effort. And when you give indiscriminately, that can be a sense of self-betrayal if there are essentially no checks and balances. Because when you give to everybody, what are you receiving in return? And I get that you can give because you want to give, but do you have the capacity to give? I saw something online a while ago, and it was saying, give only what you have the capacity to give. And as someone too that used to want to give out my time and my resources basically indiscriminately, I was kind of floored when I saw that. Especially since I am a Leo rising, I have a natural inclination to kind of just give whatever I can because I want to. Not because I necessarily wanted something in return, but it's like, you want a place to stay? I'll give you a place to stay if you're having a hard time. I want you to be okay. Or, yeah, don't worry about it. I got this bill. No, don't need to pay me back. Or, yeah, you can have this. I am not using it at the moment. And yeah, do you want it? I'll give it to you. And I used to never think twice about giving because it made me happy to be able to give. Until I realized that I got into some situations with people too that made me realize there are times where you have to you have to request something in return, and that doesn't make you a bad person. Making sure that what you're giving, or making sure that what people take is also given you back in return. And that doesn't make you a bad person. It helps. It's betraying you more when you give and you don't receive anything in return. And this card isn't in the reverse position, but whenever I see this card, it always makes me think of, yeah, are you getting what you need back in return? So yeah, that I felt like a moment of conviction there, because I'm like, you seem like nice people, group 3. And if there's one thing that I always tell the people in my life, I always say that I'm not a nice person. Because being nice is kind of based on a social contract of, if you're nice, then someone's going to be nice to you back. If you hold the door open for somebody and they don't say thank you, then it's kind of like, hey, but I went out of my way to do this for you, didn't do that. And then it's like, yeah, it would be a good thing if someone were to be like, oh, yeah, hey, thanks, man, for holding the door open. But at the same time, it's like all these like little spoken rules that sometimes I just don't have the patience or care for. It's like, you went out of your way to do something, so you better own the fact that you may or may not get something in return. But in your case, group 3, we haven't even delved into the rest of your cards, but I can tell that you have given a lot. And I would want you to demand more in your life. So yeah, anyways, from that little tangent, the second card is supposed to represent what ways you seek external validation. And yeah, as I was saying earlier, external, it's not like you give because of external validation. I just wanted to explore that since an element of self-betrayal is in relation to the societal conditioning that we all experience, and subconsciously there is going to be a part of ourselves that either performs or does things out of expectations for other people, or that other people have for us. So you got the Two of Cups in reverse, and I think there's a part of you that relishes in the fact that you're known for keeping the peace. Like, I definitely sense this group doesn't like conflict, and well, more power to you. Like, I genuinely get the impression that, yeah, you're not here to start a war. You're here to help. You're not here to raise arms. But I would question, is there any value in keeping the peace if it's at the expense of yours? Like, I'm not sure if maybe you try to mediate between you and your friends, or you and your family, or whatever community or space that you're in. You seem like the type of person to take all sides into account. But when you're trying to be fair to everybody else and mediate on behalf of anyone else, is there anyone that's going to do the same for you? And that's the tough part too, when you're someone that has a natural inclination to be a giver. You want to play devil's advocate, and you want to be the person that's fair to everybody. But when you're the person who puts in energy into understanding everybody else, sometimes that takes away from the fact that people don't do the emotional work on their own, because essentially someone else did that for them, and that person happened to be you. And when that's done for others, then it's almost like people don't even have the capacity to put themselves in your shoes and be just as sympathetic as you are, because they didn't arrive to those emotional conclusions on their own. You did for them. And yeah, it can feel like, it can feel lonely too when you're doing this for other people and people aren't mature enough, emotionally mature enough, to realize that you also need someone in your corner to also speak up about your needs too. But the reason why I wanted to do this loyalty to self-reading is because even when other people don't have your best interest in mind, at least you have the power to have your best interest in mind. And I think that when your energy is scattered with the people and environments that you're in, that doesn't leave you a lot of time and energy to focus on what it is that you truly need. Which leads to the third card, which is supposed to represent how do you strengthen your self-trust and confidence in your decisions. And you got the Page of Cups in reverse. So usually when it's upright, Page of Cups speaks to a very innocent energy of being emotional, intuitive, and playful. And when it's in reverse, it signals to the feeling of losing hope and losing that childlike innocence. And since you have such a beautiful heart already, Group 3, it can be very easy for that innocence to almost be washed away, or the playfulness or the innocence in helping others out. It can be burdened with the fact that your efforts may not always be reciprocated all the time. And that, of course, can weigh down your heart. And I can relate to this too. There came a time, like around the panoramic in 2020, when helping others just didn't feel good anymore. That I realized that it didn't feel good to not have those efforts reciprocated, and that I was running on empty when all was said and done. I feel like in 2020, I realized that the friendships I had in the last couple years just burnt me out, and I lost my confidence in being able to maintain friendships, let alone cultivate new ones, because I kind of lost hope for a while. And when it, in the context of your reading, in terms of strengthening your self-trust, it's easier said than done. But don't let the fact that not everyone reciprocates dim your light or burden your heart. Don't lose that innocence about you, or that emotional receptivity that you naturally have, because of the people or environments that you're in. And if you do find yourself in those situations, trust your heart and your intuition enough to know that it's okay to walk away. It doesn't make you selfish, and it doesn't make you a bad person. And if someone were to make you feel bad about that, for realizing that you need to walk away, you need to take a step back, you need to call back your energy, then those are not the people that you should be giving to. Because real people, real friends in your life understand that your energy and your time is limited. And those that truly understand would not be mad at you and would not punish you for needing to take time for yourself, needing for you to give to yourself. Especially too for this group, I would say you can't be pouring from an empty cup. Fill your cup first before you fill the cups of others, which, yeah, central to your reading, there's that cup energy. Like, don't let, if it's draining you, if it's draining your time and your energy in a way that is not beneficial to you, because naturally when we help others, we are inconvenienced in some way. That doesn't necessarily make it toxic all the time. If it's for a loyal friendship or a family member that we truly love, then that's not a waste of time. But if someone or something or situation is truly distracting you from your purpose, or your self-worth too, then that is not a connection that you need to be pouring your energy to. Instead, let that intuition of yours guide you. If it doesn't feel good, then pull back. If it's not giving to you, pull back. If it's not reciprocating towards you, then pull back. You don't have to be committing to situations and environments that harm you rather than help you. And to move on. So this last card is going to represent what does self-loyalty look like for you in this stage of your life, and it's the Five of Pentacles in reverse. And I always think of this card as like, stop putting yourself out in the cold. Like, don't be the one. Instead of that saying like, oh, she left no crumbs. Don't let yourself be the person with no crumbs. Don't be the person that was too busy trying to warm others that you set yourself on fire just to keep people warm. Because any true friend or person that truly cared about you would not let you do that. True self-loyalty is letting yourself be just as important as the people that you're helping. You don't have to be a martyr. You don't have to put yourself out in the cold. You deserve to be just as warm as the people that you help. Stop putting yourself on the outside. Don't let yourself come last, because this is your life. The thing about self-loyalty is the fact that it puts you as the number one priority in your life. And I don't know why that is seen as a negative. It's not. Like, in my opinion, if it's your own life, who else is supposed to be number one? It's not a selfish thing to put yourself as the center of your life. Like, I don't know in what world that was seen as a negative, but it's your life. Who else is going to be as important as you? Who else is going to look after you as best as you can other than you? Because whether people are well-intentioned or not, the only one who's going to know what we truly need at the end of the day is us. And if we don't put that focus or value onto us, then yeah, we're going to be led in situations where we get the short end of the stick. And I wouldn't want that to happen to you, Group 3. And I'm already saying this as a person that I don't consider myself as a nice person, but I always have a soft spot for people that are givers and that don't think twice to help others. But I need you to start thinking twice, thrice about yourself. I need you to start thinking about yourself all the time, or as much as you consider other people first. Because I don't want you to breadcrumb yourself. I don't want you to set yourself on fire to keep people warm, or to give others your jacket when they're cold, but then that leaves you shivering. Like, I really want you to have a piece of yourself that is totally yours. Because in 2025 especially, like, we're leaving that whole like martyr thing out the door. You can still be a good and giving person while still giving to yourself and centering yourself as the center of your life. It doesn't make you selfish, and it doesn't make you a bad person. And anyone that makes you feel bad for putting yourself first does not deserve to be in your life. Point blank, period. And so to wrap up your guys' reading, I'm just pulling some general advice cards that have some affirmations on it, and I will read them to you. The first card is Awaken. The trigger statement is, I don't know what to do. The true statement is, every moment is a new opportunity. Take time today to engage your senses and create. The tension that has been dividing your head and heart is leaving. So yeah, I feel like if your heart is telling you one thing, but your head is going against it, it's like if you don't feel good, but in a place or with a person in your head is saying, no, like, but you agreed, you said yes, but you're truly not feeling comfortable, then yeah, that's gonna make you feel like you don't know what to do, and it's gonna make you lose confidence in yourself, in your intuition. But each moment, each day is a new opportunity to strengthen that connection rather that divide between your head and your heart. They don't have to work separately, they can work together. And does that take time to strengthen that connection? Yes, it does. But your intuition and your head should work together, not apart. And the other card you got is letting go. The trigger statement is, this is not the way it is supposed to be. The true statement is, I am free. Lift up your burdens and allow the divine to free you from them. Allow yourself to be cleansed of anything that is weighing you down. Yes. You are free from the deadbeats, pile 3. Like, this is my prayer to you guys. You are free from any emotional, psychic, energetic burdens. You are free from any losers draining you of your energy. You are free from the environments and people and emotions that are weighing you down. As I feel like you do important work, Group 3, whether career-wise, right, or just helping others in your community or the environments that you're in is already important work, and you need the energy to do this very heartfelt work. Because there's such a selfless nature about you, Group 3, and it's unfortunate that there are people that are sharks and can sense that selfless nature off of people, and instead of protecting that, most people are just greedy and are going to drain that life force out of you because they know they can get something out of it. And I would want to protect that beautiful heart and soul of yours, Group 3. So whenever you feel stuck, just know that you have the time to strengthen that confidence in yourself. If you feel like you don't know what you're doing, just know that self-loyalty is consistency. Some days you're going to put more effort in yourself, and some days you barely have the energy for yourself. But the most important thing is that you commit to putting yourself first. And that if you ever feel stuck, if you ever feel like your life isn't yours, just remember and affirm that you are free. Don't let these energetic burdens weigh you down more than they need to. Let it show you parts of yourself that need some extra healing or attention, but once that's done, then you can say, thank you for teaching me what I needed to know. I respectfully let go, and I am free from this energy in this situation. So yeah, Group 3, I really enjoyed your energy, and I would go to war for you guys. I hope you're free of some deadbeats. That's all I gotta say. But yeah, thanks for spending some time with me and sharing your energy with me. I will see you in the next one.